And okay, do you even know what you have? Do you have enough to retire? Are you going to be okay? If this happens, are you going to be able to take care of yourself if you outlive your retirement? Some people only plan for retirement for age 80 or 90, and people are living a whole lot longer. That's one of the things we do talk about too, is because if you're living longer, you want to have a good quality of life, meaning be healthy, have the resources you need so you're not stressed. One of my personal testimonies right now, my grandmother, she's blessed to be here at age 83. I was blessed to have a lot of family members at lived to almost 100. My great grandmother lived to 100. My other great grandmother lived to 90. My grandfather just passed at 95, and my paternal grandmother just passed at 93. But one of the things that my maternal grandmother, that's still here on this earth, is facing is she's not even able to pay her property taxes. The cost of her energy, whether it's gas, electric, has gone up. So she lived a good life. She has a house with a whole bunch of equity. She's paid the majority of it all, but she might have to move because the cost of her keeping up, the cost of rising expenses, she can't afford. She did the right things in life. She invested. She didn't suffer. She actually had a pretty good income while she was working. So they're actually telling us now in America, you need to have at least 10 to 15 times more in gross than what you're averaging while you're working in your retirement.
So that equals like what, 2 point?
So we're about in the 2.5 to 3.5 million range.
Thank you.
And right now, the average American does have about 200,000. The average American, that in this area it might be a little more, has about on average 200,000 saved by the time they retire. So that means there's a big problem. There is an issue. There is a problem to solve now. So, one of the things as a financial educator and being in the finance industry for 23 years, I started at a very young age. I had a lot of interest on how money worked. But what I didn't know is when they had me sign my papers, well, what's a pension? What's a 401k? They just said, sign this, you have it. I didn't even know what I had. I was 20 years old, full-time working for PNC Financial. I was working for the National Financial Service. It was a good job, but I didn't know what this was. I didn't know how this worked. They gave me a bank account. I worked for a bank and didn't even know what the account was for or what was it about. They gave me a CD. I didn't even know what that was. And in the year that I had my first CD and money market savings account, and I had it for free because I worked for the bank, I didn't even know how good I had it. I had a 7.5 rate on a CD. I don't know if any of you guys are familiar how rates work, but right now you're lucky to get maybe 1, 2, 3%. And then I had a 10.5 on my money market that I can go in and out every day without penalty. I don't think anybody even knows anything about that. You might know a little something because you've been around, Chief's been around, but in the late 90s, early 2000s, on the investment side, you were getting some good return. Now, if you were trying to borrow for credit wise, you were paying those high rates. Your mortgage might be 11.5 if you had good credit, and you might be paying 8% on a credit card on average. So that's the environment we live in. So one of the things we teach is about market trends. So we know the market fluctuates, changes from season to season, year to year, sometimes month to month. So we're in a season where our tax rates are at the lowest that they have been historically, maybe since the Great Depression. But now our country is in the highest amount of debt that it's ever been. So the main ways the countries in years past have made back a lot of that revenue is through raising taxes. So it's not necessarily your federal income tax all the time, which that is scheduled to go up in 2026. I am a licensed tax professional, so I can't talk about it. So people aren't paying attention. They're not doing anything or passing any federal regulations through Congress. So Congress really is the conduit to passing legislation in regards to our taxes or to different things that are being either inputted into our tax system or taken away or to stop certain things from happening. So if there was a tax cut that was scheduled, they can do a legislation to help it, okay, maybe we'll give it some more time or we'll cut that particular tax rate. So what happened at the end of 2022, which is one of the reasons I'm standing in front of you, I said we're gonna have to be on a mission to help people. They passed something called the Secure 2.0 Act. So when they passed this legislation, they literally did it overnight. Nobody saw it coming. They did it in December of 2022. So I don't know if you know what happens in December at the end of a calendar year in Congress. They usually go on a break, but they decide if they have decisions to make within that calendar year if they're going to pass something to law. Once they pass it to law and it goes into effect to 2023, then you have to figure out how that affects your life. And that happens on a regular basis. And a lot of people didn't see it coming. Now, the Secure 2.0 Act, I'm going to get into some details so you guys are educated, have a basic streamlined education on it, but so you can learn how you can use it. There were a lot of good things. It wasn't just all bad. Meaning, if you're a business owner like yourself, you're an up and coming entrepreneur, there were some things put in the Secure 2.0 Act that can actually benefit you. There's some credits and things that you can take advantage of, especially for young people. In the past, most of the retirement say the credits in tax world were for maybe people that were older or getting ready to retire or 50 and over. Now they have tax credits they encourage young people to invest, people that are 18 and over, people that are, not middle age, I'm still young, but we're in the middle part of our cycle where we're not quite ready to retire. We're still doing some development, but we need some help too. So, but then there were also some things that if you're a business owner, if you don't know what's happening, you were required by law to be able to offer your employees a retirement plan. And if you don't do so, just like when the Healthcare Act came out many years ago, you were penalized in your tax code that you would have to incur a penalty if you did not offer that service or if you didn't do certain things. It was required by law, so you didn't have a choice. Now, the problem is that when you're working with small businesses, I've been a small business consultant for some time now, and what I find out is that most small businesses, especially 25 employees or less, they don't have the money. They don't have the resources. They're pretty much, some of them are living from like what we call paycheck to paycheck, like month to month, profit, loss, net. They're just making and covering their expenses for the business. So they're not really netting a profit. So they cannot afford to contribute or to purchase a good, maybe healthcare plan or retirement plan. But what they don't know, there are options to self-directing where they can offer their employees to self-direct their plans, where they can even contribute, but another company may be able to contribute for them. So what we're doing is just opening their minds from traditional 401ks. In banking, we did 401ks, we did IRAs, we still do IRAs, we just do it in a different way. But they're thinking only what they know, not what's really there. And in government space, everybody knows about the 457, TSP, but they don't know that there's more than government pension. You don't have to work I'm going to make a real joke, but it's true life. I used to hear in government offices all the time, I got 26 years, 3 days, 22 hours to go to my retirement. Or they were almost at retirement. I got 4 weeks, 3 days, 26 minutes till my 20 years or my 25 years are up. The reason they do that is because if they didn't serve whatever the time frame there was to get the maximum amount of time of their retirement, they weren't going to get their full retirement benefit. But let's say they wanted to do something different with their lives. Say they wanted to live their passion. Say they wanted to start a business. They felt like they put so much investment to working, they kept working and gave up on their dreams and their goals to continue their government job. And then sometimes by the time people retire, if you're 65 years old, you might not be the health that you were at 45, where if you could have started your business, traveled the world, or do some of the things you're passionate about, because you don't have the body or the means to do it anymore. So we're trying to give people an opportunity. So we're a person that could be young. You don't have to work for 10 and 20 years to save up money to start a business, or you don't have to work till you're 60 just to live a full work or entrepreneurial life. We want to give people the tools where you can invest. You can work for 10 and 15 years and have substantial enough money to be able to live your best life, or show people how you can make money off of your money, leverage your own retirement to start your business, to accomplish your dreams and your goals. Leverage is one of the key things we teach is strategy. So that's the difference of what we do as to most brokers. And you have a friend as a broker. I'm sure all of us know advisors, brokers. I used to hate the word advisor. Like, what is an advisor? Like, I worked in banking for many years, but I didn't consider myself an advisor, So I just help people. But, but the goal is if you're really advising, you're going to give people all the tools and the knowledge, not just one. Even if I do one part, guess what? I'm partnered with somebody that can do another tool that maybe I don't do. But if it's going to be beneficial to your success, you can utilize it all together and make it work for you in a diversified, whether it's portfolio, investments, it could be whatever, real estate, 401ks, whatever. But the point is, it doesn't have to be one or the other. So that's what we do here. So whenever you come here, you're always going to get education on something that you can take home and say, you know what? Do I have, no matter what age you are or who you are, and when I say age, it doesn't have to do with young. There's older people that think it's too late. I tell them all the time. I'm working with my 62-year-old today. She's just starting to get things together. But hey, it's never too late. It's about what you know and how to do it. You might have to be a little more aggressive in your strategy, but it's never too late. And it's never too young to start. When I was 18, I wish somebody would have told me all this. I wish I would have had a class to go to. They didn't teach it in school. Like I said, somebody gave me a 401k pension, and I wish I knew what I had because I'd have been a millionaire today. If I know what I know now, take it back 20 years ago. So watch out for my Torah. What would I tell my 20-year-old self? All right. So our organization, Masterclass Builders LLC, me and TK Pryor came together. We shared a similar goal of being passionate about educating, especially minority communities. We live in a society where we're all made up of different faces, things, we have different cultures, but we want to make sure everybody is equal in getting the success that we need, in this country. Unfortunately, majority of our country, no matter what race or face you are not ready for retirement. They're not ready they don't have what it takes or know what it takes to be able to go off and say, I'm going to leave my job today and start my business and be 100% successful and not fail. They say a lot of businesses, they fail in the first year and then they give up and they go right back to their job and they never get to accomplish their goals and dreams. So we want to change that and make it equal for everybody to be able to accomplish that, no matter who you are, to have that opportunity to say, hey, you're not deprived one person to the other. We're going to share the same information. Me and Mr. Pryor used to say all the time, we've been in rooms where we had to pay $15,000 just to go to the event, but we got whatever they gave us. But everybody can't afford to do that, And then when they get that information, they just go make their money and keep it to themselves. Well, I got my money now. I made my $1 million. I got my 10 properties, but they don't come back and say, hey, let me mentor somebody else and show them how to do the same thing. Even if it's just, to help somebody, not to give a cost. So that's what we're here for. We're not going to charge, hey, look, we're going to teach you something we paid $5,000 or $20,000 for, but no, we're going to share what we can and make sure we have people. Eventually, we want to be able to develop and work one-on-one with different people. Now, our services are here. We do free consultations. We'll have a conversation. Some services cost, some don't. So at least we can talk. It's free to talk. You don't have to go to an attorney, $450 for the first hour. No, you talk to us. Hey, what's your goal, what you need, what you're trying to do? And then even if we can help you, hey, look, we have people, we have resources, and we're not just going to send you away and just throw you to the wolves. We're going to work with you each step in the way. Hey, I'm the doctor. I'm going to triage you. I have a cardiologist. I have the kidney doctor, the pulmonologist, whatever they're all called. And hey, you need this, you're going to go here. You need to work with a designer, you're going to go here. You need to get some patents or you need to get some funding for your nonprofit, you're going to go to this person. And then we'll work with you either simultaneously on goals or one step at a time. And that's how it works. And we're with you for life, Right, TT? These are just some of the companies, I'm just going to skip over it, but these are the companies that we work with. You're in the office of Dr. Shirley Liu. We've been partnering, working together for over 10 years. So that's why I said we're all one big family. Myself and TK, we have our 2 real estate companies. We're just early on development. I'm on my first property, wholesaling. So, I'm taking some of the things, even I've been around. I've been in mortgage financing for 23 years, helped investors, and never invested in one property in my entire life. So I said, I'm helping everybody else to make rich. I want to do it too. So I'm finally doing it for myself as a person. But as I'm learning, I want to help other people. But I am an expert in financing. So you see how that all works together. I have friends that are realtors. They're helping me out, and we're all working together in the business. So the biggest thing is financial education. Like I just said, in this particular subject matter, we're talking about financial crisis protection. So also not just making money just to be wealthy. If anything comes up, what happens, it bankrupts a lot of people. People have health issues. People have whatever the financial issue, something comes up. So you want to have a nest egg or something that protects whatever you're doing. Whenever you start a business, it's not always money. It could be intellectual property. It could be an idea. It could be the things that you are doing to make things go forward. Somebody could steal that. So whether it's getting patents, whether it's getting a life insurance policy to say, hey, I want to make sure I have $1 million policy to cover if somebody gets sick. We show people how to do that, but not have a lot of money to do it. So we work with those things. And actually, I do work with trademarking and stuff. So that's a separate topic for business owners, or people developing their business. But we want to make sure you have that knowledge and education to protect yourself. I tell even music artists all the time, if you're DJ so-and-so, that's your brand, that's your business. You got a platinum album. If somebody wanted to call themselves you, guess what? If you're not protected, they can call themselves you. If you get sick and can't perform at a concert and they're gonna sue you back, then do you have a life insurance policy that can pay the disability, to pay somebody else to help them work in your place if you're a guitarist, if you're a musician? So those are things to think about. I do work with those type of people, and it's just being in the industry and doing things myself, I try to make sure, I don't care who you are, you're a painter, you're a musician, you're a fashion designer, you have a nonprofit, you're Dr. Chichi, you're TK Pryor, doing the things you're doing, you want to make sure you're protected on all fronts and all levels. And one of the things we talk about, and we'll go deeper into, is called tax deferred growth. So people know investments, I know the hot new thing is definitely digital currency, Bitcoin, Robinhood for the younger folk, but that's nothing wrong with that. I know people play the market. When you're younger, you're able to deal with the losses and profits. But, I tell people, be smart. If you have something growing on one end that could be at risk, have a larger amount or something sitting somewhere that's growing tax deferred, meaning you'll never take a loss. If the market went to zero like it did in COVID, which all of us saw. Now, I've been around for 3 market crashes in my adult life. So I was at the bank when 9/11 happened, saw people lose millions and millions of dollars right in front of my eyes. People had to go to work to not retire for 10 more years after that because half of their retirement savings were gone, literally just gone. And it's really sad. You saw probably people coming out to work at Walmart because they didn't want their Social Security to be taxed. These people that probably had prominent positions working lower positions because they had to come out of retirement, but they have such a low income, they didn't want their Social Security tax. So those are things that you have to think about. Then we had the 2008 real estate crisis. People lost their homes. Same thing happened. The markets crashed. People were going crazy. And guess what? The same thing happened all over again. And that wasn't even 8 years later. Then, now here we go. COVID. And I don't think we're still even out of the woods with all the stuff that's going on now. And it's not me giving my personal opinion. It's a fact. I'm a numbers person. I'm a factual person. Just look at what's happened. You can think little things detailed to what's getting ready to come. So people really need to it's really an urgent matter. I'm not going to downplay it. Like, it's not a game. You don't delay it. What people like to do is, I'll get to that later. Well, let me take my risk now. I had a lady tell me the other day, I want to see what my Chipotle stock does in the next 6 months. She said, I did do good with Chipotle. There was a little bubble about a few weeks ago where people lost a lot of money in the market, if everybody remembers. There was a big thing that happened, I think it was like 3 to 4 weeks ago. I was monitoring because I had customers saying they lost some money. And I said, you ready to move it over now? I'm going to see. It'll come back. It always comes back. It came back last year. I was like, okay. All my goal is to say, I'm trying to help. You can always take a little something over here, still make something, that's going to grow good. Might not grow like this, like the market, but at least if anything happens, you're going to retain everything you got. So those are things to think about. I call my gambling people. I say, you can go ahead and gamble. Go to the casino and gamble. Don't gamble with your whole life savings. And another big thing we talk about is tax advantage income. So just making sure that your money is growing and when you get your distributions, it goes tax deferred. But when you take it out, you don't want to have to pay whatever the tax rate is going to be in the next 10 to 20 years. Right now, I told you we're in a low bracket. Right now, it might be 60, 70, 80% realistically within the next 10 years. It's definitely going up to 50 coming in next year for some people. So you want to think about that. Imagine that you make money in the 1970s, they were taking 70 to 80 to 90% on the highest tax brackets. So imagine you go to work and all you get is 10% of your paycheck. I want to ask you, how would you feel?
Not good.
I'm just saying, what would you feel? Like, would you want to go to work and keep working? You get 10% of your paycheck. That's what happened in the 1970s. And guess what? That's when 401ks came out.
That was the purpose of 401k.
That was the purpose of 401ks. See, people don't even know the history of why it was even created.
Yeah.
It was a tax shelter to defer the taxes until they retire. So think about it. Everybody in the 1970s, those were not baby boomers. All those baby boomers are now retiring. And they're retiring in a 25, 30, 35%, 37% tax bracket. But when they started working, they were being taxed 90%. So people have to think about that. So now, if you think in reverse, we're not in that. So people of our generation that are not retired yet, and we might be retired in the higher tax bracket, what do you think we want to do? We want to pay taxes now and then accumulate tax defer and take the money out tax free. So it's just a strategy. It's all about, mindset and thinking. But most people don't even think like that. They just, I'll just keep my 401k. They've been doing it for the last 20 to 30 years. But hey, your 20 to 30 years is not what 30 years was in 1970. So we're making sure people are smart. And then the other thing is supplemental retirement. People don't think it's not just one retirement you have to have. You don't have to have one 401k. You can have multiple forms of pensions and incomes. And you can create them yourself. You don't let your job say, I'm going to give you a 401k and this is it. No, you can take that job stuff, but hey, I got some money I'm taking over here and I'm putting over here. I got some money I'm taking over here and putting over here. And some of that stuff can grow very quickly and protect your principal. And then at retirement, you'd be like, how much do I need to live that good life? And this is why I make people think, hey, what is my quality of life I want to live? Whether it's the big fancy stuff, I want to go to Paris, I want to travel the world, I want to have a yacht, I want to live on that fancy island and come back and forth to America. Or it could just be, I have people that's very simple. I just want to enjoy my family. I want to be at my church. And I'm good with getting $6,000 or $3,000 a month. But realistically, remember I just told you that in order to survive, you need 10 times the amount you made on when you were working. But, depending on where you live, some people go overseas. You might be able to live off of what you have. But if you're going to stay here in America, you got to be prepared to pay that more money. So that's another thing. The other thing is flexible access to cash. So most people don't realize you can grow a savings that's long terms. And there's certain vehicles that allow you to take it out while you're still working. But there's better ways to take it out without incurring that 30% tax or that 10% tax penalty that you would get for taking out before your age. So 59 and a half is the age that you would incur a 10% penalty if you take out of your 401k, TSB, or 403bs ahead of time. So people don't know that you can actually leverage this. Like say, I used to do collateral asset lending for business owners when I worked in banking. So a business owner can say, hey, I got a $200,000 life insurance policy, IUL, or even a IRA. And they say, hey, I want to leverage this as collateral to get myself a $200,000 loan or line of credit for my business. And guess what happens? They lock that up. But while it's locked up, it's still growing. It's not going anywhere. So it now becomes your leverage for saying, I can afford to take out a loan on my personal, be the guarantor of my credit because I have a asset. I have cash value in either a life insurance policy or I have cash value in a retirement vehicle, whether it's an IRA or some type of annuity. So that's people don't think like that. Like, oh, I got 100,000. But that 100,000 can easily become 200,000 because you leveraged it for something else. So that's something else to think about. So I might not have money to go say the SBA might say I'm only giving you the 25,000 startup. But you know what? I got something. Don't I have a savings somewhere? Or you can create your own savings and then leverage it, however you want to work it. But that's the way to do it. But they don't care about money in the bank because money in the bank you can go get and spend it and it'll all go away. But they know they can hold that, annuity, IRA, or your long-term savings, and you're not going to touch it and say, hey, I will give you a loan based upon what you have right here. Anybody have any questions about that?
So real estate is just understanding that you have options, right? Because the average person is only taught what they're taught. They know 401k, and that's all they know. But now you know that you have options. There's more than 401k. There's the opportunity to leverage. So go ahead.
Yeah. So these are the questions that you should be asking yourself. This is only, the whole deal is only you can answer these questions. No financial person, I can't tell you, no advisor, I'm a wealth strategist, financial life coach. I can't tell you what you need to do because it's your plan, your life, what you want to do. So these are the questions you have to figure out and answer. And once you answer these questions, then, okay, now we can develop the plan. What does it take for you to achieve the answers to these questions? So a lot of people, they say they have an idea, I want to start a business, I just want money, I want to live this life, but they never really think about how do I want to get there or what it is I really want to do. So you got to break it down. It has to be a plan. What does my future look like? I mean, it seems like a broad question, but some people just live really day to day. They don't even have a clue. Oh, I'm just going on. I'll figure something out. Maybe I'm going to do this one day, maybe I'm going to do that. But do you have your goal set? Do you have a vision board? Even do you have something written down? Do you have a goal? Do you have a plan? So once you know what you want to do, then you know what? Who are the people and the tools I need to reach out to in order to be able to make this come to real life? Whether it's short term, it could be a 3 month goal, 6 month goal, 1 year goal, 5 year goal, 10 year goal, or a whole life goal. I know things change, your plans can change over the years as you go older, or maybe things change, but at the end of the day, there has to be something tangible where you say, this is what I want to reach. Because you can't reach a goal if you don't have, we talked about that at the last event. Can you reach a goal if it, but she asked me that question, you asked me, can you reach a goal if it's not written out, you don't have the steps to take to get there, or details, or doing different things? And I'm talking about very detailed, meaning you can have a broad subject. Oh, this is what I want to do. I want to start my clothing line next year. Okay, what do you need to do to start a clothing line? Where are you at in life? Did you go get, so certain jobs require maybe licensing, maybe some sort of education, certification program. Do I need any licenses or certifications to do it? All right, maybe I don't need that. Do I need to take some design classes? Let me see, what else do I need to do? Oh, I have, do you have a network already? Are you already doing some things where you can present to somebody that can actually put it to fruition for you, like somebody that can sew, or, what I'm saying? And then, do you have something where you can set up, hey, I want to do a presentation to show what I can do, but who do I want to show? Do I want to have people in the room that can maybe take my idea and put it somewhere to be able to make money for me? Whatever that may be. Some businesses require contracts. Maybe for what you do, you need contracts. You need people to fuel what it is you're doing. So what rooms do I need to be in? Who do I need to be talking to? And then from there, it gets even more detailed. Okay, what do I need to do for financials? How do I structure my business? And then I even go as deep. I used to create a plan like years ago in a spreadsheet. Like, okay, what are the little actionable items do I need to do every day, every week, to get to some of those bigger goals? It could be just picking up the phone and calling somebody. It could be scheduling a meeting. It could be going to the bank to open up a bank account. Whatever that is, it needs to be a real life written plan, and you need to be talking to whoever is necessary to help you get to that next goal.
So, in other words, what we're trying to say is if there's something that you may have overlooked, so you have an idea, but like we went to a class in DC for venture capitalists. These are companies that are already funded, and essentially none of them had insurance for their business. They went through a whole boot camp where other companies funded them, and none of them had insurance for their business. So that's a step that most entrepreneurs skip. And if you have that, you get sick, your business partner gets sick, you get a check, and your business still survives. But you left that out of your foundational paperwork, and it's something you never thought about. So the idea of have a plan is more so saying that there's something you probably left out of your plan, and what we're trying to do as a company is fill in those holes. So if you've never thought about business insurance for key man coverage, don't leave that out.
And and to expand on what he said, I've actually seen this in real life as a business coach. I've seen people lose their entire business because usually what most entrepreneurs do, they work the business themselves. They don't have any employees. They don't have a manager that can step in. That's like them, like we call it trainer. A lot of things happen. I actually had a client come in one day. He was about to do his, I was in my tax office. We do a lot of things together. And I said, you know what? You're a one-man show at your business. In order to expand, you need to hire other contractors to do the work. He does labor work. He was going to come back and sign the paperwork on Monday. He had a stroke the next day. He was out of work for the entire year. And guess what happened to his business? It's gone. And guess what happened while he was out of work? Because he was an entrepreneur. He didn't have the money or the funds to fund his medical expenses or to take care of things just for his family, let alone his business. So that's the power with, from what he's saying from the insurance side of being knowledgeable about your business, because we really focus on the insurance of business, because if you insure your business, that's what's making the money for you. Your business is supposed to be working itself, not you working it. So if you had to step away, insurance is that whether the money is used to fund somebody to work in your place to pay that salary, so those things are taken care of, or to supply your supplies or whatever you need. If you can't make your fashion show, hey, do I have somebody just like me that can step in? I can pay them, make sure everything goes as well. So that's super important. A lot of businesses that have gone under is just because of that. They're working their business. They don't have enough money to expand or to pay somebody else to help them do the work and be like them. Then when something else happens and they have to move away, whether it's from family, medical, whatever can come up, then there's nothing happening with the business and it just goes away. So it's very important. Why lose your whole legacy and everything you work for because you're not protected?
A backup plan.
Absolutely. And I mean, and it's not complicated. You just got to talk to somebody so you can design something that works for you. And that's why I keep saying design. It's not you just go buy something at the grocery store. Your business is not the same as his business. So your needs might be different from his. You know, everybody has different things going on. So you need to sit down with somebody and say, hey, this is what I have going on. And how can I protect this? How can I grow it? How can I expand it?
Yeah, it's just risk aversion. You want to have, the ability to still operate in the event something happens. And this is standard practice for Fortune 500 companies. But a barbershop feels like, oh, I can't do that. You should. Because if you're funded, like I talked to a woman the other day, she got funded by other businesses. And I was like, why don't you take the money they gave you to fund your company to pay for the insurance to cover your business? Because that is a business write-off. So nothing comes out of your pocket. You have insurance now. And she never even thought about it. Not once did it cross her mind.
Yep, and then it keeps their money in their business. They don't have to take money for emergencies and take their net worth for liquidity to pay for something that could have been covered and leveraged by the insurance. So keyword is always leverage, leverage.
Exactly.
Leverage.
One of the biggest income earners in this company, her name is right there on the wall. It says Marcella Barnes, 600,000 right there, that plaque. She did it in her own company, and basically she got a loan because her company got a contract from the city.
She's a construction company.
So because her company got a contract from the city, she took the money they gave her. She's doing a waterfront hotel with condos and retail. She took the money from the bank, bought a key man coverage for herself, because if she dies, she's in her 60s. It's an 8-year project. So the money the city gave her, she bought $1 million policy on herself. It's called key man coverage. It's
$10 million policy.
$10 million.
Because it was a $33 million project.
Exactly. So basically, she leveraged the project the city gave her to basically cover herself as the key executive within her own company. And the bank paid for it. It didn't come out of her pocket. So that's called leveraging.
And that's the leverage I was talking about. She took that, and the bank actually loaned her $10 million to fund her policy because she had the project is the collateral.
Exactly.
So that in her situation, the project is her business. That's the collateral to save for the bank to give her $10 million, and then in turn, she took that $10 million and leveraged it against insurance.
But anyone can do that.
And then that insurance grows 3 times within those 7 years.
Of course.
So that insurance policy will be worth pretty much almost the $30 million that the whole project is worth.
Yeah.
Our whole project is leveraged.
You have compound interest the whole time.
Correct. Yeah.
But any business can do that.
That's another class.
Yes.
But that's the advanced strategies that we're trying to push.
Yeah. That's on the higher level, but you can still do it no matter what it is, whether it's 10,000 or 20,000 or 30,000 you're leveraging. But if you did have something that crazy, that's what that looks like.
Yeah, it could be done on a small level. The lady that I was telling you about has a nonprofit, and she was funded a smaller amount, but I was telling her that can still cover her business insurance. It's just a contract that you sign. And now the money doesn't come from you, it came from the funding that you just got.
Anybody have any questions about that?
It's just things that I think people, they're never taught. Mm-hmm. They never think about it. And then, like I said, I'm talking about the biggest DC conference in venture capitalists, and not one company there had insurance. And you have to go through a series of formal stuff to get through venture capitalists. And we're walking around talking to people, and no one has insurance. So if your company, you get hit by a bus tomorrow, that's it.
Right.
You're done.
Have no insurance.
Done.
And that's not hypothetical. It's funny you say hit by a bus, but my aunt got hit by a bus. Her whole life, she's still alive. But guess what? My parents are caring for her. And they were trying to do a lawsuit for the bus that hit, but you're not guaranteed to get the lawsuit or get the money to cover whatever's supposed to be covered. So that's a real life thing. That's not like you think what's the odds of getting hit by a bus. Well, I can tell you my aunt got hit by a bus. Real life.
The idea is to leverage your risk.
So I tell people think it's far off. Oh, that's never going to happen to me. Oh, that couldn't happen to me. I see it real life. Right in my family, right in my life. I see it. So one of the things you want to go over, this is just going over everything I already said. Quality of life. Quality of life is your health. Think about it. If your money's good, your health is probably a whole lot better, right? Because you're not stressed out worrying about money, right? It gives you more financial stability. So when you implement these strategies, long-term savings, insurance strategies, whatever the case may be, then you have the freedom to make choices without limitations. And that's really the biggest thing. A lot of people are limited in what they are able to do. Like I was always a creative person, but I was told I had to get a job or go to school. And that's it. That were my only options. I can't just be creative. I can't be this free, bubbly like person and make a living out of it, you know? But if your things are set up, guess what? As parents, we can set it up for our kids and have my parents did for me. Then guess what? Oh, my whole life is already saved. I got money for whatever I need for my entire life. So now it's just up to me to choose what I want to do and just work on that. Don't even have to think about anything else. If I want to go to school and that's my goal, I can go to school. Guess what? I won't be debt free when I get out of school. My student loans will be paid. Or, let's say I want to start a business. Let me get some business technical trade certifications. Let me learn something. And guess what I got to do? Just go start a business. I don't have to work for 10, 15 years to save money. I can go right into whatever my passion is or what I want to do. If you want to be a singer or actor or whatever, you can do it. Just make sure you got your stuff leveraged where you have things set up where you can go just and focus on your goals. Could you imagine a life like that?
That seems, that's what I was going to say. That seems like a fantasy, but what she's leaving out is we have physical tools that allow you to do it. My mother did it for me. It's the only reason why I'm even existing right now. She passed away. She left me an annuity. The annuity was in a family trust, and I basically don't have a job and haven't had a job for a year. But anyone can do that. So the idea is there are tools that allow you to set that up. If you set it up like when your child is 5, my son is 5, he has an IUL. By the time he turns my age, at 50, he won't worry about money because 6 to 8% compound interest has been growing since he was 5 years old. So what she's leaving out is that there's tools that you basically sign a contract and you put money into that contract and it multiplies. You have protection. You have a health component. Because they always say the first block says health. If you get a health problem, you get a broke problem. Because of this financial system we live in, you're going to deplete your savings. So what people leave out is insurance pays you money when you get sick. So all of these, especially people that look like us, have these health problems and they all get sick. None of them have these policies where they could get a check. And they just had to sign a piece of paper before they got sick. So guess what? That cancer, that hypertension, that all of that stuff, diabetes, all of those stereotypes, if you have this in place, you get a check. It's very simple.
And don't worry, I haven't gotten to it. I got all that too. Yes. So all those things are true. So there are tools that you can use to be able to, be able to protect yourself amongst all those health issues or financial issues in life. And then the part that is said at the bottom is you can do what you're passionate about instead of having to worry about things. Live life for freedom. So the advanced strategies, that are focused on, like I already just said, leverage. The other part I didn't even mention, redirection. So redirection is just basically, sometimes people think I have to generate new stuff or get more money in order to be able to invest or to make things work for me. But people don't realize maybe there's some things that I already have, don't even have to have, but things I can do and change habits to create or free up something to be able to accomplish that goal. So freeing up, my favorite example is if you go to Starbucks every day, there's no Starbucks drink that's less than $5. So if you go to Starbucks to have one drink every day, and I'm glad to say I am Starbucks free, like I went through recovery some years ago. I have coffee set up in the house. I go to Starbucks once in a blue moon just as I can treat myself. It's okay to do it once in a while, but I don't have to do it every day. But guess what that saved? A lot of money monthly. When I used to work at the bank, I used to not only buy for myself, I bought for my entire team. How much do you think I was paying every day for an entire month? And I work 7 days a week some days.
Yeah.
So if people think very
$10
simple,
a day.
redirection is one of my favorite things to talk about with clients because people are like, I don't have no more money. I'm overextended. I have more losses versus profits when I'm talking to business owners or whatever. Okay, so let's see where you're spending. That might not be necessary. So some people it might be coffee. Some people could be other habits. I used to have, my college students, they like to go to the bar and hang out. How many days a week do you go to the bar? How many days do you party? Can you just go to the liquor store and buy a 6-pack at home? Is it $12.99 versus the $20 a drink you pay for in the club? So I just make people think, whatever that is for you, everybody's different. It could be a food. It don't even have to be food. It could be an item you buy or something, whatever. I had a client admit to me one day, yeah, I spent $1,000 on tennis shoes the other day. But you don't have money you're suffering in this area, you know? So it's just a matter of it's about changing habits, discipline. So I teach people, it don't have to be the biggest thing, but maybe sacrifice for a period of time just to get to where you need to be, you know? And then when you need to be, if you want to have a Starbucks every day or buy $1,000 pair of tennis shoes, be my guest. But do it after all your things are working for you and you have the things you need in place. Because when you come to me, I don't want to hear, I don't have it. What did you do yesterday? What did you spend your money on today? Oh, let's check your bank statements. Just spending money here. I find the money all the time. And because we're so used to being consumers a lot, we don't even realize if you're not keeping a good budgeting plan. I always tell my business owners you should have a budget for your personal life and you have a budget for your business life, especially when you're first starting off. You want to see what you're spending your money on so you know how to redirect what you have to make it more efficient for you. So that's all redirection is. It's just taking from another area. It doesn't have to be money. Because some people don't start off with a lot of money. Maybe they are neck to neck. I know people that make a lot of money and still can't afford things. So it's just changing your habits, being more disciplined, and looking at your overall budget. And those are things that can be broken down in other classes and individual meetings as well, too. Multiple streams of tax-free income. I think I already went over that a little bit. So, like I said, you can just have more than one thing that you're investing in, but just make sure it's in a tax advantage. I call it tax advantage because you can't avoid taxes. Either you pay going in, you pay it going out, you know, or some type of way. But there are things you can do. We teach about trust a lot too, you know, so there's a lot of different things with trust, estate planning, or not even with that, where we have vehicles where you can put money in, but if you take it out of like a life insurance policy or an annuity, where it can become a pension tax-free to you. So that's something we can do. Diversification of investments on and off market. So what that means is there's investments where crediting strategies, meaning it's not on the stock trade line, but you're managing your money or it's being invested based upon what that trade line does. So what that means is a company can say, okay, we're going to charge XYZ for you to have access to it, but you won't take a loss if the market takes a loss. So say, what's the big thing? What's that thing that everybody was invested? GameStop. So a lot of my clients were coming to me 2 years ago. What you think about GameStop? Everybody was on this GameStop hype, right? So let's say GameStop was way up here. It was at 89%, and that's crazy. But let's say it was at 89%. So instead of getting the 89% crediting strategy, there's a index in between, meaning there's a space in between. You might only get 38% of that, whatever that is. But guess what? 38% ain't bad. But guess what? If that GameStop went all the way to red and negative on the market, you keep whatever you earn. And then when the market goes back up, you keep going up again.
So it's principal protection. It's a guarantee, no loss. People love to play the stock market, but you're losing money every time the stock market dips. Some people don't even know that there's such a thing as no loss. So when you put money, there's an IRS code associated with insurance where it's guaranteed principal protection. It never dips to zero. Doesn't matter what your account is. If you got $100,000 in an account, it never goes to zero because you're protected by that IRS code. And a lot of average people have no clue that that exists. So do you want to take that risk? That's the question. And we always tell people, stock market, everyone loves risk, but put some of your money, because over here you never lose a dime. So take the risk and take the protection. Do them both.
Exactly.
I actually never knew that. That's why I never started stock market. Because I was always, I'm like, why would I put all that money and it could be disappeared? It could just...
Well, you're a very smart person. Some people like risk. I mean, there is risk where you can gain, but unfortunately, sometimes there is that possibility that, you can go really good. There's people that done good. You just do your homework. Know what you're investing in. Be very smart. But like he just said, and what we're trying to teach, there are other options you can be balanced with if you do it. But some people, I'm 100% safe now. I ain't gonna say I've always been that way, but I don't want to put not $1. I can't even tolerate losing $120 in the stock market. I used to be a gambler back in the day. Not anymore. No, I'm good. I'll put all my money in a safe bucket, and I'm happy with my safe bucket returns. So, but I know some people are different, so I never tell people you have to put all your money in one place. But just look at ways how you can make what you have better. Because I know people that got really good, they have really good portfolios. Some people come to me and have their stuff together. They have multi-million-dollar portfolios. But guess what wealthy people really do? They're always trying to move around to make it work better. So I work with people that do very well. But guess what? I have one of the best things, trucking, where I can guarantee no loss. And if you put $1 million into something, we have something on the product. We're going to get more deeper into what the vehicles are. where they give a 10% return up front. So somebody invested $1 million into and it's not just insurance, it's something called IRA annuities, where they get 10% bonus just on the front end of starting the investment. So guess how much was 10% of $1 million?
Right,
10% of $1 million is 100,000, right? So they just made somebody's salary with moving their money. I don't think that's bad, right? You just made 100,000 plus whatever your rate is. We have something that's called, and Shirley, the next meeting, Shirley will be here, and her next book is going to drop. Her best-selling book right now on Amazon is IUL ASAP, but it's about the retirement vehicle, fixed index annuities. And there are fixed index annuities where they don't even fluctuate. You could just take the fixed rate, earn 7 or 8%, never take a loss, get a bonus on the front, and double and triple your money within 10 years. Can't beat that. And most vehicles aren't doing that. They have to keep their money in a 401k for 20 to 30, 40 years just to kind of manage and be okay. So, yeah.
Yeah.
One of the other things we talk about is passive income. Passive income is money that you don't have to work for. So that's just basic. I'm not going to go too much detail on that, but meaning your money's making money for you at that point. When you're getting passive income, whether it's from your business residuals, investment residual, you're not working for it. Your money's working for you. And that's the whole goal. Even when you become wealthy, if you're not already wealthy, if you just move your money around to the right places, guess what? If you're making $20,000 off your investment every year or every month, that's income. You didn't do nothing. Did you work? That's the people. I want to be on. I don't like golf, but I'll be in. I just want to say I was on the golf course one day and checked my phone and made money. You know, and I've seen people do that all the time. Cash flow assets, making sure your assets are, it's not just for real estate, but real estate is a primary way that people, make money through, whether it's rents, accumulating real estate. That's another class. I have some people that will be teaching in that. That's what I'm kind of working on. But with real estate, you want to make sure. Some people think, oh, I just go buy a house and do a mortgage for 30 years and I live in it. You don't have to do that. You can turn your house into a duplex or a fourplex, let the whole house be paid for, have a management company manage the tenant, so you don't even have to be involved. You can go do another business, and your business is always making money for you. That's just an example. There's so many different ways to do it, but passive income, cash flow assets. This is a big concept. I'm sure. How many people here have heard of infinite banking strategy? Nobody? Oh, okay. So I got newbies. We're gonna have a whole class just on infinite banking. All infinite banking is basically you're setting yourself up to control your money, and now you're becoming your own bank. So if you use all these strategies that we're trying to talk to you and teach you about as either an individual, employer, or even a business owner, you can actually become that person where I can go take a loan against myself, pay it back, and guess what it does? It zeroes out the interest, and now you didn't pay any fees to borrow against your own self. You leveraged your own assets.
Yeah, it
That's
works.
A whole nother D concept.
It works good, especially with real estate professionals, because they close on a house, they got $50,000 profit. As soon as you put that profit in your personal bank account, you have to pay taxes. So we try to teach them advanced leveraging strategies and infinite banking, because basically you're going to put that money in an insurance contract. Now you put the 50 in insurance, borrow against it, and guess what? The cost of money is cheaper because you have to pay interest when you borrow money. But if it's your money and you're borrowing against it, basically in insurance, you're only going to pay about 5%. So that works for a real estate person. But
if you pay it back, guess what? If you're earning 6 or 7%, guess what's happening? You're zeroing out your interest. You really didn't pay any interest because you're paying back to your own investment and still accumulating interest anyway. So it works for you. So win-win, what we call it. We also will have more training and talking about that. And then, to be honest, all these things just creates what we were talking about. The whole theme is economic independence, being to have freedom to do what you want to do, creating your own, writing your own check. But we're going to actually give you the roadmap and the tools to do it. And we're going to work with you hand in hand. Whoever, and people in this room, it's not just us. So like I said, I work with other brokerages, I work with other professionals, I work with people in AI and technology, because guess what? You're going to need technology the way this world is going. We're using technology in our business. We're going to use more AI. I'm going to get a virtual assistant. So all these things free up your time to be able to help you. So we know these people. You might need a good website developed. You might need a partner in the industry. Chi does her thing. She needs people to rent out her space so they can have events. So, you know, this is the deal. We just want to make sure that we're helping each other and we're doing what we got to do to get to the next level together.
So at this point, I want to take a quick break.